Our Year 12 class conducted a 5-week group donate program to simulate the Australian Football League using principles from Australian rules football. We firstly dedicated week 1, 3 and 5 for benchmarking, which measured the performance improvement of 3 skills of the Year 2s. My partners Zach and Paige had great diversity in our group. The students who have never touched a football in their life like Matilda, to students like Isaac who has already started playing local football. This led to us having to accommodate our session plans to the diverse range of learning stages that the students were at. Zach, Paige and I allocated ourselves as joint tactical and technical coaches for our team. Through collaboration between Zach, Paige and I and the class discussion, we as a PE class successfully created a 5-week program structure for the Year 2 students.
Each team versus each other once, so they all get 2 games each. Yeah. So like 20-minute games or something.
Well, if we're doing benchmarking first week, we have to do, I don't know, if we're doing 3 benchmarks in 10 minutes on each, or 15 minutes on each.
Prep and week 1. Preparation phase was used to create our SMART goals shown on screen. The aim is to increase participation and to increase the motor skills used in AFL football through implemented strategies which will be derived from data analytics and skill development. Through training drills structured around the benchmarking data, all groups in the Year 12 class collaborated where we created a draw suitable for the time frame.
You've got the smaller teams that'll like boost the participation. Like say if you have 2 big teams, like they won't get involved as much.
Yeah, that's right. You split it up a bit. Just one big.
Here, the 3 group members collaborate in choosing 3 different benchmarking skills where we will conduct pre, mid and post testing.
Do you want to do the handballs as well?
Yeah.
I'll kick
So we've got
Like out of 3, see what you get, or out of 5.
That could involve just kicking in general.
Yeah.
Just kicking, goal kicking.
The 3 different benchmarking skills we will be testing that will be used as a measurement system to identify the Year 2 stage of learning and their skill development. Paige, Zach and I utilise the benchmarking statistics by meeting on a weekly basis and analysing the results, and construct the following week's session plan, catering to the area in which the Year 2s showed a cognitive level of performance. Upon reflection, meeting on a weekly basis and to collaborate our finding was beneficial, as we were able to reflect and give different perspectives on the observations seen in the previous session and improve our structure,
Which was good and bad at the same time, I thought.
We measured each student's skill level using a rating scale. The statistics from our week 1 benchmarking demonstrate the dynamic abilities in our group. Our highest skilled footballer Isaac was averaging 4, while our least skilled Joey was averaging 1. For week 1 game, the class collaboratively analysed the data and saw a quite concerning trend. This trend showed the dominance of the more physical and rough boys, receiving much more of the ball, which led to the game being extremely congested with the girls sitting out and watching. Video evidence from week 1 games show a larger cluster of students all huddling around the ball with no positional play, poor skill execution and poor decision making. This led to extremely rough tackling, negatively impacting the new or less exposed players. These observations were supported by data as it is shown as our most dominant player Isaac having 8 touches, while 3 of our most advanced girls Matilda, Alia and Harper having 0 touches. Week 2 and 3. Moving to week 2, our pre-benchmarking statistics showed 2 areas that the students must improve at, being handball and kicking, which was shown to record lower scores compared to goal kicking. Acting on this information, my group programmed repeated movement patterns of discrete skills so our cognitive learners can feel and familiarise themselves with the skills. As my group was mainly focused on performance improvement, we closed the motor skill down. This strategy was very useful for the students to learn their static skills like hand placement and ball drop in a closed and predictable environment. Closing the skill down was an effective strategy as it let the students self-pace, which led to less distractions and irrelevant cues that can interrupt the skill execution. Paige, Zach and I collaborated, making an evaluation and strategies for the week 2's game.
The game?
Yeah, the game was very congested, like there was no real, everyone was just kind of standing out watching, rather like the real good players dominated. Yeah, it was really, and because all the congestion increases injury as well,
So I think probably for the next game, we should probably make it so they split up to different zones, like forward, mid and back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'll be better for the game.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe go tackles because we got a few injuries and people getting fluent out.
Kids were getting hurt.
Yeah, and that led to like most of the girls that didn't want to be all physical, just kind of stand and watch while all the
scared.
physical kind of people went in there and dominated.
So how are we gonna fix that though?
I think do a tag, so tag them out 3 times
And then like if they don't get rid of it quick enough, it's holding
on
the
the
ball.
ball.
We included no tackling, each kid must have a ball, and splitting the game into forward, mid and back. These strategies were effective by opening up the field to increase participation and decreasing roughness, shown by the girls' disposal count increasing by 1. Going into week 3, we had our mid benchmarking. As a collective, the students improved significantly, with the students averaging 1.5 of a higher score on the rating scale. The discrete skill of handball and kicking improved massively, with the kids now knowing the correct technique to handball and kick the football in a closed environment. All students improved besides Isaac, who sustained an average of 4.5 in all skills, as he has shown an associative to an autonomous level of learning, doing nearly all discrete skills with a good technique and good results. These results show that the majority of students are showing signs of the associative stage of learning. For week 3 game, the class had to work collaboratively with the students and PE staff to work inside.
Session with the weather.
I reckon we stay inside because the weather's not great.
Yeah.
And I think we should do skill level teams as well, to make it a bit fairer.
This led to irrelevant cues like noise, which led to the kids finding it hard to concentrate with background noise. But there was also a positive. With no weather like wind, the space was also smaller, which led to the kids being more involved. Looking at data from game 1, 2 and benchmarking score, identified kids moving to the more associative stage, and ability grouped them together for week 3 game. And students displaying cognitive level of learning were grouped together. This led to the lower level of learners who had been shy and scared. For example, Matilda, who previously hated playing, was extremely involved, receiving 6 touches and a goal compared to 2 touches over her first 2 games. Even though this strategy was good for the lower level learners and boys who have shown a higher level of learning, the strategy was flawed, as the girls who were grouped into the associative level of learners game due to high benchmarking results shown a decrease in their statistics as they struggled to touch the ball against the more physical boys. Week 4 and 5. Looking at week 3 statistics, week 4 aims to further develop the students' ability to kick, as it was apparent that the students still struggled to kick the football in a straight direction, where they have shown they have gained the ability to handball and hit a target. The statistics from game has shown that the participation from students has increased dramatically, with students having an average of 4.25 touches a game in comparison to week 2's game 3.5. Looking at the benchmarking data, it was clear that the students were moving out of the cognitive stage of learning into the associative stage, as the frequency and size of errors decreased, with the data having more consistency with their results with less outliers. For week 4, Zach, Paige and I integrated drills that targeted at serious skills to further develop the kids' football skill set and make the session more endurable by simulating the game and environment by placing the students in game-like scenarios. This was achieved by combining a group of discrete skills, which the students has previously developed to create a more complicated and prolonged skill action to simulate a game-like environment to improve the kids' decision-making. The group also did one-on-one external feedback being given to the students to close down the skill and simplify the skill and remove possible irrelevant cues. This strategy was very effective for Alia, as she dramatically increased her kicking form and benchmarking results, as at first she struggled to kick the ball, but after one-on-one feedback, I was able to directly show her and simplify the action. Despite the girls having increasingly good results in the benchmarking and skill execution in drills, the class discovered an issue.
Do you think we should implement into week 4?
I think we could start maybe splitting up the girls and boys.
Yeah.
I reckon the boys have been held back a bit. There's a few more associative stage learners, and their stats are showing like they're through the roof, but I reckon they're getting held back. So I reckon by dividing the boys from the girls.
They can let the game flow a bit more.
Yeah.
I think the girls are struggling because they're scared and they think it's unfair. But yeah, I think they think the boys are being too rough as well. So for them to be going up against each other, they'll probably participate a bit more.
Even though the girls are getting like good benchmarking data and results, they're still getting like the boys are getting way more possessions than them in game. So maybe if it was girls versus girls, like they can actually like use their things that they've improved on with like their benchmarking data.
This strategy provided to be successful in aiming to increase the girls' participation. Showed with all the girls improving the amount of touches, with Harper, who previously had 5 touches over the first 3 games, having a total of 7 touches in the girls v girls game. This strategy overall made the game more enjoyable for the girls, with the girls supporting and having fun and laughing, where previously they were complaining. In the games with the boys' competitive nature. Looking at the boys' game, they all shown an overall high standard of game. Through observations, it was clear each player on the field had increased level of skill and greater application of skills. This led the boys to efficiently move the ball around the field, leading to a game of 73 disposals compared to last week's game of 60 disposals. Week 5 gave Zach, Paige and I an opportunity to measure the level of improvement from the Year 2 students by conducting our final benchmarking session. Post-benchmarking, evidently some of the students remained in the cognitive stage of learning but shown signs of developing into the associative stage of learning, as it was clear the students were able to recognise their errors. Referring to our highest level learner, Isaac, we noticed that he was doing all the skills with ease and being hard on himself to try and make less and less errors. It was clear that Isaac was approaching the autonomous stage of learning, shown through automatic kicking and movements that were almost perfect, suggesting that his motor program was now stored in his long-term memory. This led to him being able to focus on decision-making during games, and when he made a mistake, Zach, Paige and I only needed to give him intrinsic feedback as he was able to recognise and develop on his mistake. However, he was seen to return to the associative stage of learning when matched up on other autonomous learners and placed under pressure, where he was seen to make poor decision-making. Conclusion. Referring to the SMART goal Zach, Paige and I developed aimed to promote participation in a positive environment. This was successfully achieved by creating a realistic goal that relates to performance improvements in the 3 fundamental skills of football, developing the students from a cognitive stage of learning to an associative, which occurred in our experience. The class worked collaboratively to develop the benchmarking program that was ran in week 1, 3 and 5 and used this as a mechanism to measure the Year 2's development and progress towards the goal of performance improvement. Referring to our other goal of improving participation, Zach, Paige and I worked collaboratively in watching and getting the statistics in the game to discover trends to allow us to manipulate the AFL games to overall make an enjoyable experience for our Year 2s.